All right, joining me now is Rudy Giuliani, who went from New York City's mayor to the entire country's mayor on the morning of September 11, 2001. And, sir, it's very good to have you in here today.
Very nice to be with you, Rob.
So yesterday, we're showing on the screen here, New York Times, Washington Post. You notice something. This is the day. This is on September 11th, on Sunday. You're not seeing any 9/11 coverage there on the front pages of the New York Times or the Washington Post. Nowhere near the top. They acknowledge it later on. At least they did on their websites. What does that say to you 21 years later?
They're American newspapers?
Yeah.
You sure they're foreign newspapers? It says to me that they've become instruments of the state. Yeah. I mean, they're really, to me, they're Biden state newspapers or Democrat state newspapers. They have been for some time. They're not newspapers. They're organs of a left-wing, you want to call it woke ideology, you want to call it socialist ideology, you want to call it something bordering on a modern form of communism.
They can't squeeze any. There's no political gain for them to talk about 9/11.
Yeah, everything
they do
choices are not going to be made based on the old theory of what's news, what do people really want to hear. Right. Do we have two sources supporting it? Otherwise, we're not going to go with it. Yeah. You know, we got to have 10 sources if it hurts their position. You have no sources if it doesn't. They're completely driven by their ideology, which I would say is a modern form of communism.
It is scary. I mean, it's something it's really interesting when you look back at the way they used to report news 10, 15 years ago versus now. You can see just how much those papers have changed. I want to talk about this new report showing that the military prosecutors are negotiating a plea deal that might take the death penalty off the table for 5 accused in the 9/11 attack, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was an architect of the attack. Taking the death penalty off the table, nearly 3,000 Americans were killed.
Outrageous.
Why would they ever take that off the table?
Because it's like what we're doing in our cities, isn't it? I mean, it's 40, 50% of the criminals go free in Philadelphia. No wonder Philadelphia has become like, I don't know, challenges Chicago as the murder capital. Yeah. Criminals have the sympathy and the engagement of the far left, and there isn't enough they can do for them. I mean, this is an absolute outrage. These people murdered thousands and thousands of innocent people who had nothing to do with anything. I mean, the guy delivering a sandwich in the morning or breakfast or somebody opening their computer. And think of how it changed America and what it did to us. And then all the deaths from the exposure afterwards or from the war that was necessary afterwards. And the fact that we're going to get attacked again. I mean, we'd be foolish not to think it. Biden has done everything he can to invite an attack. Biden has made us more vulnerable to an Islamic terrorist attack today than we were the day before September 11. First of all, he gave him $85 billion worth of equipment. Right. He gave him an air base. Imagine giving them an air base.
And we're bringing in thousands of Afghans
and he
doesn't relatively unvetted.
He has no idea who he's bringing in. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be a stupid terrorist not to get in. Yeah. I mean, then terrorists aren't stupid. And the desire to destroy us is as alive today as it was 20 years ago, as it was 30 years ago, as it was 40 years ago.
I thought it was just right-wing extremism, though. I thought that was the only threat to America.
Well, that idiot senator from Virginia equated the people on January 6th to the people who attacked the World Trade Center. Right. I mean, something like that, I don't know where he's coming from. He certainly shouldn't be a United States senator.
Did you see the Biden speech yesterday at the Pentagon? I mean, he had a scowl on his face for most of it. Seemed very angry. He didn't directly politicize it too much. He did kind of move around the edges, insinuated some things. But he also spoke through 2 moments of silence during the speech, which wasn't too smooth.
Well, that might be hard for him to keep in his mind. Right. I mean, it's actually an outrage. I was with 1 or 2 of his cabinet members yesterday, and I restrained myself. Maybe I shouldn't have. How can they sit there and not move under the 25th Amendment to remove him? And it also occurs to me, does he have cabinet meetings? I rarely hear. I mean, I worked for President Reagan. President Reagan had cabinet meetings, and President Reagan had sub-cabinet meetings. He divided the cabinet into 6 committees, and he was constantly involved in cabinet meetings. He wouldn't stay for all of them, but he'd come in to get briefed, and Trump was constantly having meetings with his cabinet, 3 people here, 5 people here, 8 people here, 10 people here. When I was representing him, or Jay Sekulow, we would be interrupted by them. So I know how many he had. I haven't heard about one cabinet meeting that he had. I'm sure he has them, but I think there's a reason for that.
I don't know.
Because he'd make a fool out of himself at the cabinet meeting. Yeah. And eventually one of those people would have to say, how can we have a president that is incompetent, mentally incompetent like this?
Hey, do you think enough? My final question on this: you were downtown yesterday for the memorial. Has enough time passed where you think a lot of Americans have kind of forgotten, and it's not as visceral anymore? Maybe we forgot the lessons that we've learned.
Well, that would be natural that would happen, but it's easy to remind them.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is tell the story again or show the images again, and Americans are very much engaged in it. And I think it's easy to explain to them that this is not a part of history. Yeah. You know, when we remember Pearl Harbor or we remember, let's say, the Kennedy assassination, it's history. This is going on right now. These people are still trying to kill us. They're still training to kill us, and they'd love to do a bigger attack.
Yeah.
They would. I mean, to them, there'd be nothing better than to outdo bin Laden. That's their psychology. I've been investigating them for 40 years. I helped to establish the Joint Terrorism Task Force in New York. So it goes way. People think I got involved then. I was the prosecutor here before that. This is a very, very long-standing, very determined group of people. And if we're not as determined as they are, they're going to do tremendous damage. I mean, they want to destroy us.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. Mayor, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Good Great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee for life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number, 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.